All right, welcome everybody to GZ Truth News. It is September 3rd, 2023. We have a very special guest, Jay. Thank you for coming on the show. Also, founder of RuguYoga.com. And thanks for coming on. And before we discuss Rugu Yoga, first give us a bio of your life and long career in the microcomputer industry.
All right, thank you, Sean. Well, I was born in Los Angeles. My father was from India, and my mother was from Indiana, English and French background. So genetically, I'm a union of the East and West, and having lived in both the U.S. and South India, I've been profoundly influenced by both Western science and Indian yoga. My father, Balakrishna, was a world-class yogi, and he initiated me into yoga at 13 years of age. In fact, actually, he's the one who introduced Hatha Yoga for the first time all over the United States in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. He drove from city to city in every one of the 50 U.S. states teaching Hatha Yoga. He appears in some of the earliest books on yoga in the United States. After high school in Kerala, South India, I went to the university in Florida, U.S. I got started with computers there at the birth of the PC. No, not the personal computer, the personal calculator. I've been programming computers and playing video games since 1974, before there was even any video in video games. So I'm probably one of the first Indian Americans to ever program computers. I graduated from the university and began working as a COBOL programmer. In 1978, I bought a Commodore PET microcomputer, and it changed my life. On my 25th birthday, I started my first software company. It was called Hesware, Hesware. 4 years later, it was a very successful company, and I signed up Leonard Nimoy, Star Trek's Mr. Spock, as our corporate spokesperson. If you want more details, there are numerous articles and interviews with me on the internet. You can search for Jay Balakrishnan. Be sure to put it in quotes. That's Jay space BALAKRISHNAN.
Socrates, the secret of happiness is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less.
Now, after Hesware, I stayed an entrepreneur, starting and running 3 other companies. But deep down, by my early 30s, a midlife crisis was brewing. I had become reasonably rich and famous, and I bought a huge house with 13 rooms. Got to have a swimming pool and jacuzzi. You got to have new cars, a new RV, a new truck to haul the RV. Got to go skiing in Switzerland. And yet a nagging doubt kept surfacing repeatedly. How come I'm still not happy?
Buddha. Happiness is not having a lot. Happiness is giving a lot.
So after about 3 years of introspection, which is Latin for looking within, I came to realize I would never find happiness in the external world of material objects. So I went back to my Indian roots, and in 1991, 32 years ago, I took a solemn vow to become a yogi. And as the foundation of all yoga is non-violence, in Sanskrit, it's ahimsa, non-harming. So I took a vow to be a vegetarian, which I have kept to this day. So then I changed my priorities, got married, had 2 kids, and began working at video game development studios as a producer. My last job was the executive producer at Radical Games in Vancouver, Canada. I was responsible for the development of all video games, reporting to the founder and CEO, Ian Wilkinson. We made some games like Simpsons Road Rage, Simpsons Hit and Run, Scarface, Incredible Hulk, CSI Las Vegas, and Crash Bandicoot, games like that. Back then, Radical was the second largest video game developer in Canada after Electronic Arts, and one of the largest in the world. And then after we sold Radical to Vivendi Universal, I retired in 2006.
Agatha Christie in The Hounds of Death. The supernatural is only the nature of which the laws are not yet understood.
So to conclude, I was influenced to become a yogi by three autobiographies of three great yogis. Gandhi was the first one. His life had a couple of miracles. Swami Yogananda's book contains numerous, quote, miracles, and Swami Rama's book is just filled with them and will be just too fantastic and unbelievable for most science-captured people. So those three people in books are Mahatma Gandhi. He was a karma yogi, and it's autobiography, My Experiments with Truth. Swami Yogananda was a Raja yogi, and his book is Autobiography of a Yogi. And last, Swami Rama, also a Raja yogi, his book is Living with the Himalayan Masters.
Okay, thank you. So now, what is Rugu Yoga?
Well, yoga in Sanskrit means union. So Rugu Yoga unites Western science with Eastern yoga by using their common language, which is numbers and mathematics. It's a new scientific yoga, an update to classical yoga for modern humans living in our digital internet-connected world. Think of Rugu Yoga as digital yoga. Now, we've heard the Indian word guru. Sometimes it's called guru, but it's short, guru, which in Sanskrit means remover of darkness. Now, in the Vedic Guru Shishya Parampara tradition, a guru guarantees to introduce you, the Shishya, to God, because they themselves are self-realized and have personally experienced that state of absorption in godness, which is called nirvana or samadhi in yoga.
Socrates, to find yourself, think for yourself.
Now, Rugu is guru backwards, phonetically. Guru, Rugu. Rugu Yoga's motto is, be your own guru. Why wait idly until you find a guru or one shows up at your doorstep? Why not start removing the darkness, the ignorance, all by yourself? Figure out everything for yourself. Take charge of your own life. Liberate you. Everything you need is within.
Buddha. Happiness comes from within. Do not seek it without.
Now, science studies what's out there. Yoga studies what's in here. If happiness, a feeling, truly only comes from within, then by definition, science can never provide you with happiness. I'm referring to a Buddha quote, happiness comes from within. Do not seek it without. So basically, science thinks and yoga feels. But you cannot think your way to happiness. You have to feel happy. Science is your mind. Yoga is your heart. Unite them.
Buddha. Happiness is a journey, not a destination. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path.
Now, we all ask the meaning of life. Well, in my opinion, the meaning of life is life has no meaning. Life is not a thought. Life is a feeling. Life is for living. It's a journey to experience emotionally. It's not a problem to solve or a question to answer by thinking. If you are motivated to use your mind to make you $1 million, it's because you want to spend that money, get rid of it, to exchange it, to get some things you really want that will make you feel happy.
Deepak Chopra. The self-image, the intellect calculates. The self feels.
Where there's a clear desire, there's a clear vision. Where there's a clear vision, there's a strong will. Where there's a will, there's a way. So the best way is your way. Shine your own light on your path and strive diligently onward. Rugu Yoga says, be your own guru. Now, the mind is just a means to the end, the heart. Every thought you have of outside objects is ultimately directed at feeling happy inside. So think of the mind as a map. If you just stare at a map, you're going to go nowhere. Use your mind map occasionally to direct you to your destination, which is your heart. As Bruce Lee said in Enter the Dragon, don't think, feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger, that's the thoughts, or you will miss all that heavenly glory, which is the feelings.
Kick me. Kick me. What was that? An exhibition? We need emotional content. Try again. I said emotional content, not anger. Now try again. With me. That's it. How did it feel to you? Let me think. Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Do you understand? Never take your eyes off your opponent, even when you bow. That's it.
To quote Steve Jobs, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow know already what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Stay hungry, stay foolish.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
Now, Rene Descartes said, cogito ergo sum, which in Latin is, I think, therefore I am. Rene Descartes is considered the father of modern philosophy.
René Descartes, father of modern philosophy. Cogito, ergo sum.
I believe that is wrong. While you're asleep, you're not thinking. Do you cease to exist? I think it's more accurate to say I am, therefore I think. The mind feels by thinking, and the heart thinks by feeling. Did you know your heart has its own independent little brain with over 40,000 neurons? And in fact, more messages are sent from the heart to the brain than in reverse. The mind sleeps many hours every day. The heart never rests ever, not even 1 second. An 80-year-old heart, I've read, has beaten nonstop over 3.3 billion times. So this is how to differentiate between the mind and the heart. The mind thinks, the heart feels. The mind questions, heart knows. Mind is science, heart is yoga. Mind is serial, heart is parallel. Mind is computer, heart is human. Mind obeys logic, heart obeys intuition. Mind is reductionist, heart is expansionist. Mind stops, you sleep. Heart stops, you die. Mind uses our 2 eyes. Heart uses 1 internal eye.
King James Bible, Matthew 6 verse 22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness.
Swami Rama. The ultimate goal of mantra practice is to attain a state of inner silence, in which the mind becomes still and the heart becomes open to the divine.
So, Learn to listen to your heart's intelligence, called intuition. Mind can focus on only one thought at a time. Even as the mind sleeps, the heart is directing trillions of operations every second. Each day, I read that the mind has about 6,000 thoughts, and the heart pumps life about 104,000 times. Your heart knows everything. It knows you. Get to know it. Your heart leads to your higher self, your soul. In Sanskrit, that's called Atma, which resides in your heart, not your brain. Feelings are more important than thoughts, or as Bruce Lee said, don't think, feel. An appropriate quote here is Adi Shankara, the founder of Advaita Vedanta, who said, curb your senses and your mind and see the Lord within your heart.
Adi Shankara, founder of Advaita Vedanta. Curb your senses and your mind and see the Lord within your heart.
Erwin Schrödinger, 1933 Physics Nobel Prize winner. The unity and continuity of Vedanta are reflected in the unity and continuity of wave mechanics. This is entirely consistent with the Vedanta concept of all-in-one.
Believing that science and yoga totally complement each other, Rugu Yoga unites both science and yoga scientifically by using their common language, which is numbers and mathematics. As one example of yoga's use of numbers, here is a short Sanskrit poem praising a deity that also encodes the numerical value of the constant pi to 31 decimal places.
To end, I would like you to listen to this particular shloka.
Gopi bhagya madhuvrata shringishodadhi sandhiga khalajivita khatava galahalara sandhara.
As you can see from the translation, it is one of those many shlokas that are there in the praise of Lord Krishna. But there is a secret here. If you take ka, ta, pha and replace them by 1 and so on as is shown in this table, then this particular shloka is actually the encoded value of pi up to 31 decimal places. You know, the first time I saw this, it really blew my mind. These guys knew how to do encoding. These guys knew the value of pi. These guys did this in a form of a devotional poem, a shloka. I had goose pimples when I first heard about the Katapayadi Sankhya, as it is called.
Albert Einstein, 1921 Physics Nobel Prize winner. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind.
In summary, Rugu Yoga unites mind and heart, integrating Western science, which exclusively deals with the external world, together with Eastern Yoga, which has extensively explored and written about the inner world and consciousness for many thousands of years. Science is the study of the effects. Religion is the study of the cause. Finally, I should mention that our website is under development. It will be coming soon. It's www.ruguyoga.com. RUGUYOGA. Ruguyoga.com. Please look for that. Thank you.
Some major topics on Rugu Yoga you'll be talking about in the upcoming months.
Okay, well, thank you, Sean, so much for your interest and your time on Rugu Yoga and doing this interview on GTN, your GZ Truth News. I really appreciate it. Well, Rugu Yoga unites my three great passions, really: Western science, Eastern yoga, and world music. Every episode will explore and seek to understand the underlying unity of our universe, which appears as multiplicity. This unity, this oneness, is called Akasha in Sanskrit, the Logos in Greek, and so on. Using numbers and mathematics, which is the language of yoga and science, Rugu Yoga seeks to unify dualities and opposites, like order and chaos, logic and intuition, mind and heart, quantity and quality, particles and waves, science and yoga. Rugu Yoga calls this union digitalism, the laws of digits. In episode 1, we'll get a very high-level overview of Rugu Yoga, and in the coming months, more topics will be introduced, and we'll get more in-depth details on all the important concepts and benefits of Rugu Yoga. We'll explore many subjects in science and yoga, both physical and metaphysical. Rugu Yoga will stretch both your body and mind.
Nikola Tesla. The human being is a self-propelled automaton entirely under the control of external influences. Willful and predetermined though they appear, his actions are governed not from within but from without. He is like a float tossed about by the waves of a turbulent sea.
Later in episode 2, using both science and yoga and mathematics, we will prove that you have no free will. Also, we'll scientifically answer questions being asked these days about computers and artificial intelligence. Can AI ever become conscious? No. Will AI replace humans? Using both science and mathematics, we will prove decisively that digital computers and therefore AI can never have consciousness. They will always remain artificial, merely a simulation of reality. Computers will definitely outthink us, but humans will always feel and be more creative. Simple math will show you why. And we'll also explore fun and amazing properties of simple and special numbers like constants, pi, phi, psi, other interesting constants and concepts, and the interrelationship between sound, mantra in Sanskrit, shapes, yantra in Sanskrit, and music. Okay, sound, shapes, and music, geometry, they're all interrelated. And in fact, all music is math. And we'll also dive deep into technology, computers, and video games, because after all, that's been my lifelong career.
Very nice. Well, why does science need to be integrated with yoga? Doesn't science already explain everything? What is science lacking that yoga can provide?
Erwin Schrödinger, science has cut itself off from an adequate understanding of the subject of cognizance, of the mind. This is precisely the point where our present way of thinking needs to be amended, perhaps by a bit of blood transfusion from Eastern thought.
Well, science operates and dominates our modern digital world, but it has severe shortcomings and flaws. First of all, science will always remain incomplete. Science can never know everything about the universe. Nature will always be able to surprise us. To prove that science will always remain incomplete, we'll examine Kurt Gödel's explosive incompleteness theorems, sometimes called GIT, G-I-T, which are considered among the greatest mathematical proofs of all time. Now, Gödel proved that the statement, if you can't prove it, it's not real, is not real. There is a gap between truth and proof. There are truths that can exist, for example, consciousness or soul or God. These truths cannot be proved using mathematics, which always will have its inherent limitations. Since science is all about mathematics, it can never prove what is metaphysics.
Kurt Gödel, in Collected Works, any consistent formal system F, within which a certain amount of elementary arithmetic can be carried out, is incomplete. There are statements of the language of F, which can neither be proved nor disproved in F.
Using math, Gödel proved that every mathematical system, which is exactly what science is, will always contain truths that it can neither prove nor disprove. Isn't that exactly like trying to prove or disprove the essence or the existence of a soul or God? Sometimes you'll just have to rely on faith alone. If mathematics is not complete, is not consistent, and is not decidable, then science itself which is founded upon numbers and mathematics, is also not complete, not consistent, and not decidable. So for thousands of years, mathematics convinced us that certainty is possible. But Gödel proved there's no certainty anywhere, not even in mathematics. Albert Einstein was so much in awe of Kurt Gödel that he turned down numerous job offers to become a professor at Princeton's Institute of Advanced Study, just so he could walk and talk with Gödel every morning. They lived next to each other, and every workday they walked and talked together on the way to the campus. Secondly, science is exclusively materialistic. It deals